Hello and welcome back to the Car Throttle podcast, where Ethan, Jack and I read out your emails, act as your automotive uncles, and discuss unpopular opinions.
That's a good one.
How do you feel about that one?
He doesn't get any less weird, does he?
No.
Anyway, this week we've got another special guest who's best known for going sideways, hating on my MX-5, and most recently doing low rent videos for Top Gear. It is, of course, Mr. Chris Harris. How are you doing? Low rent, that's actually on your Twitter bio, so shut up before saying anything.
I coined that carefully. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm very well, yeah. It's great to have you here. We're in Bristol, little French restaurant again. Shout out to Ben Collins's brother-in-law for allowing us to be here. And you've already been here.
Yeah, last time I was here, I was hammered. I don't remember much about it. Very good eatery, this. Good nosh. I think I went to the ladies' bog rather than the gents' bog.
I've done that twice.
Easy to do.
I think it's one of those places from memory that has a slightly funky logo that's a bit indeterminate.
And it's the first toilet you see, so you just go in it.
So I think I got shooed out of there by someone. So that didn't go down well. And Bristol's a small place. So I've known Ben from a long time before either of us had any kind of a job. And I've known his wife for much longer than he's been married to her, and I didn't realise it was her brother that ran this place. So
there we go.
All good.
So top tip there, if you want to go to the ladies' toilets, then the best place is to do it Little French in Bristol.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, before we read out your stories and things that grind your gears, what have we been up to recently? So Chris, I'll get started with you. What have you been up to?
Just finished a series of Top Gear which aired, and because of Mr. COVID, we normally have a 3-week break. Doesn't feel like that for me, but production, the actual people that work hard on the show, tend to stop, get pissed, go on holiday and do something else for a bit. But there was no real break this time. We had about 5 days and we're straight back into the next one. So we're currently filming. So I'm filming actually in the West Country next week.
Oh, nice.
I recorded Celebrity Juice on Friday, which is probably career ending for me. One of the most appalling things I've ever done in my life.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
That should be good.
Was there any flesh?
There's no flesh, but I had to dance. I have no rhythm. I had to disco dance with Keith Lemon, and I'm stood there like it's a village hall disco in the mid-80s, and I don't know what to do. And there's basically just a line of men and a line of women. I'm going. I only did it because when they asked me to do it 2 or 3 times, because obviously Paddy was a team captain. And I sent Pad a note going, should I do this? And he went, don't do it. You'll be the shittest guest that's ever been on there because you're not funny and you're an idiot. And I went, that's the reason to do it then. So I had to do it. And do you know what? It was actually, I think I was worse than I thought I was going to be. And I have a pretty low opinion of my own performance. So I've done that, and I'm just sort of adjusting to the weird world. I don't know about you guys, but first lockdown with what we do, I was very cautious about being seen out and about doing anything. But this time, I'm not being incautious, but I do think that as long as we're outside and we're filming and there's fresh air and we distance, I want to get on with the world now. I cannot spend another few months sitting down.
Amen to that, yeah.
So we're going to shoot some more web vids. I'm racing Andrew Frankel with my 2CV this week.
Very cool.
For charity, for Mission Motorsport. So give generously to Mission Motorsport because it's a fantastic charity. So generally speaking, busy. What about you lot?
Well, what have I been?
I've had a big win. This week.
You're getting straight
Let's hear it,
straight
let's hear it.
there.
Huge. I fixed my Jazz.
Did you? That means something very different in Bristol. Do you know what? That is phrases that don't translate into the West Country.
Urban Dictionary, that
So
one.
what did you do? Did you just put it in alphabetical order, or did you?
Very good. So my wife has a Honda Jazz. It's not mine. And I say fixed. I sort of fixed it. Mm-hmm. She came back from the petrol station yesterday and just properly flustered. So what's wrong? What's wrong? She's like, I can't get the filler cap open. She's like, I can't get petrol in. I was like, oh really? Is it locked? And she was like, maybe. So she unlocked it, and that was the issue.
Was that your fix?
That was my fix. Yeah.
Well done. That is
that a fix?
amazing.
That's a good
I mean,
fix.
What, so what you're
we're
saying
talking
is the
about
male part was seized, or were you saying? So how did she?
She just had locked the car
locking
when she got
mechanism.
to fill the fuel up.
Oh right, okay. Do you know what? I reckon every one of us has got an embarrassing filling a car up story where you're on a forecourt, normally in our position in a car that's not yours, but you're pretending it's yours. And you're like, you roll up and you've got the wrong side. Yeah, I just forgot that for a minute in this S-Class that's clearly not mine. But I've got so many of those where you're sitting there, you confidently drive up. I had one in a Panamera recently and I'm like, just thing, man. Where's the button? Is it a button? Is it under there?
Yeah, sometimes
Where
you
is
just can't find it.
No.
And then you have to phone the manufacturer and you're like, it's your fault, I can't find it. That button. Ah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
They have a massive sign on the front of the car going, "This is not my car, I can't afford it." Well done for alleviating what could have been quite a bit of marital disruption.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're such a man.
I am.
Well done, you. As for me, I haven't really been up to much, but in advance of doing this podcast with Chris Harris, I actually wheeled my MX-5 out. It's parked outside the restaurant.
It is. It's parked at a jaunty angle.
Yeah.
Because he's worried about his rims on that curb. I can see that.
No, I just don't want a skip truck to smash into the side. Anyway, a few years ago, we did a video where I can't remember, it was like an awkward interview, and you pretty much rinsed the car.
I love the lack of smugness and sort of self-satisfaction that exists in the community of MX-5s as well.
Absolutely,
no one would ever wear a T-shirt that says "I love the MX-5," would they?
No. So I thought I'd bring it down and then just get your opinion on it.
But it's not the same car, is it?
Of course it's the same
That's
car.
what I say. Like,
Shut
so much
your
has
mouth.
changed.
The shell is the same. I'm
Yeah,
sure
there
it's
you
got
go.
a VIN number that is the same. It's got a new engine, I gather.
Yep.
An aluminium V6, which
Yep.
is lighter than the 4-cylinder that was in there before.
Oh, look, he listens. He
It's
listens.
got over 250 horsepower.
Thank
It's
you.
got proper. I reckon what's interesting is that for me on the road, there's a particular point of camber, particularly rear wheel camber on a car, that is, if it goes beyond a certain amount of camber, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
And you are right on that limit.
I am.
If I followed your car, I'd go, he's enjoying himself, that must be good to drive. But if you had another half degree on that, I'd go, cock. You're just on the camber limit.
So I'm still in the legendary.
No,
status.
you're in the hardcore Wheelman Smith area.
Oh, I'll take that. I'll take that. Speaking of cars as well, you just rocked up in your M2 competition. One thing that you're missing is tinted windows, man. That's. The
Oh,
only
here
thing,
we
yeah,
go. He's going
yeah.
to drag me onto this. Look, obviously being nice Caucasian people, you don't have the same problems I've had as a kid. But if you're a little bit dusky and swarthy like me, and you lived in Bristol as a kid, and you had tinted windows, you just got stopped every 5 minutes. So I'm allergic to them. I hate them. And I also think in the UK, the way that we have to have the front window clear and the rear window is like that, it just ruins the silhouette of the car. So if they're all tinted like they have in America, I can live with it. But the lack of a front tint, for me, great. So yes, I do order all of my cars without tinted windows, which is increasingly very, very difficult. It's like walking into the Guardian's editorial offices with an "I love Trump" t-shirt. You walk in to go, "Can I have an M2 without dogging glass?" And they'll go, "Oh, right, mate. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll never be able to sell it again." well, just order it. And then
Do you have to pay extra to have no tints?
I had to special order an AMG once from the factory to not have tints because they wouldn't even acknowledge it in the UK. And that for my sins, I have a G-Wagon, and I had to buy the glass from Gratz and get it over here and have it all replaced in the car.
Jesus.
I will go to considerable lengths.
Yeah.
Hate tints.
I'm a fundamentalist. I will not have it. I freaking hate this stuff.
Nice. Glad I brought that up.
Yeah.
Jack, what have you been up to?
Got an update on the high mileage A4.
Oh.
I've done 8,000 miles in it. So
Yeah.
it's on 548,000
Oh,
miles
mega.
now.
Is it a B what?
It's a B6.
B6, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So it's good. But the other day, coming back from a shoot, the battery light came on. Suspected alternator. And we know that the belt tensioner is on its way out. It's making a terrible noise, especially when you turn the car, which you do quite often when driving.
And it's been doing that since the day we bought it.
it's been doing that. So I thought I'd have a quick inspection, see what's going on. At some point, the dipstick holder has snapped in half.
Classic Audi.
Yeah, and it has been.
Is that a known thing?
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's been spraying oil everywhere. Like if it's got a surface area, it's got oil on it.
Is that what you want? You want it to be
I
coated?
don't think so.
It's good for
Even
rust
just
proofing,
taking the engine cover off.
Covers any potential corrosion in the engine bay for the next
Yeah,
owner.
yeah,
doesn't it?
Exactly.
yeah,
Good cover.
Yeah.
But also, you can't tell what anything is. It's just coated in oil. So just taking the engine cover off, I was coated like up to my elbows in oil. It's insane.
So have you got a sweepstake in the office as to how far this old girl will get? Do you think it'll hit 600?
I just want to keep driving it and try and get it up there. I don't think it will.
Yeah, I don't know. We're not very
needs
good.
more
We had a
Like that,
Volvo
what
on
we
the
get.
show that had done 500,000 miles, and it was absolutely fine.
D5, was it?
It was it was the last of the Audi engine ones.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
it was that shape, but with that was the holy grail for me because I had the previous shape that had the 2.5 Audi engine in it, and that old girl only got to 220, and a big end bearing failed on the M5 outside lane. Not a great
Ouch.
day, that.
Yeah.
And I was one of those ones where I actually couldn't get it across it just seized up
Oh,
fully, and I had
Christ.
2 trucks on the inside. So when I tried to turn left, I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I lost all speed.
Bloody hell.
Then you're thinking, shit. But I love that car. That was a great example of when nicking someone else's parts is the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
That engine was freaking brilliant.
Yeah.
Loads of torque, comfortable seats. All the Volvo bits you wanted were Volvo.
Yeah.
And all the other shit that you get badly wrong, the engine and gearbox, was done by Audi.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do love that car.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's good.
We do love
We don't show it.
No.
We've been neglecting it. We need to give it some love soon.
that 1.9 DP. We do love. Do you love a DP?
Yeah, I do. I know, obviously, I get the...
Before we slip that
He'd
one.
be
No,
asking,
no, yeah.
he'd be asking whether I get
Right.
any money from the ATM next. Won't you? I do. Audis are funny things, aren't they? They're cars that when they're new don't interest me normally, but the older they get, the more I sort of acknowledge and respect the way
Yeah.
VW engineers stuff. But all my mates that don't earn loads and loads of money and know about cars buy old Audis and VWs, and they've got no time for old BMWs. They think they're utter shit. They just go, they're made.
Well, that
they're-
counts us out then.
Well, they just go, they're brittle when they break, and then they somehow squeeze hundreds of thousands of miles
Yeah.
out of these Audis and VWs, and the Beamers will not do it in
Yeah.
the same way.
We had a what was it, Skoda Octavia,
Octavia, yeah.
V-Reg. Bought that. Actually, no, I sold it, swapped it for a winch, and that had 450,000 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought that was impressive at the time.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
this Audi comes along.
No, I'm sure there are some lurkers out there as well that,
Yeah.
that have got 500,000-600,000. The problem is that you now realise they're quite easy to clock. So very few people want to do the comedy, build up the mileage with pride thing. They get them to 200, then they wind them back again.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't realise how easy it was to wind these things back until
So you did it on the M2.
Yeah, wound it back from 5,000 to no. No, but I think people don't have that comedy. A mate of mine bought a Skoda, a 1-year-old Skoda Octavia estate. This was 15 years ago. It was a year old, and it had done 130,000 miles.
What?
We both had young children. It was about 4 a.m, and we were just awake because kids were shitting and pissing whatever they were doing. And he sent me a note going, we have to buy this, don't we? And I went, well, I don't want it. You have to go and buy it. And he did. And about midday the next day, he phoned me and said, I've gone to Luton.
Oh,
I've bought
yes,
it. And he said, I had to buy it just to see. I wanted to meet the guy, first of all, to understand the story behind it.
Yeah.
Minicab driver, but also had another job. So he was moonlighting. He'd got it on the tick, on the Never Never, got it all wrong with his job. So minicabbed it. And then obviously the mileage went out of control.
Yeah.
So he had to get out of the finance deal quickly and borrow money from the bank to pay off the finance. And he just ran it. And the only thing about it, the car was immaculate, like these things, immaculate. But on the door, up on there where his elbow had been, his elbow had actually gone into the door. So the whole padding had gone because he spent so many miles just doing that.
Yeah.
But the rest of the car,
That's
amazing.
That's interesting you say that, because my friend's fiance's dad has a Passat, not that old. He drives with his arm up. This is in France, and there's a massive indentation. It's ruined the door.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, I was like, what's that? That's where his elbow goes. It's like, surely it's engineered to not happen.
no, honestly,
But,
the G-Wagon does that. Quite a few of them do that. They're
Interesting.
I'll come back to another high miles car. Dan Prosser, friend of mine,
Yeah.
journalist as well. So I lent him, I had a mega miles Passat that we bought when we first did Drive because we had no money, and I bought it for £1,000, I think it was, and it wouldn't die. It was our camera car, a bit like one of your pool cars. And then Dan needed some wheels, so I said, have the Passat for a bit. And the fuel filler locked on him on a forecourt. Can happen
Happens
to
to-
anyone.
yeah,
but
best of us.
But he did check whether the car was locked or not.
He didn't have
Once
your
it
number at the
ascertained
time,
that,
did he?
This is the level of respect Dan Prosser's got for me. Rather than phoning me and saying, I can't open the fuel filler, he just ripped the bug, he just ripped it off. And I saw the car about a week later, and what happened there? He went, oh, I couldn't open it, so I just ripped it off. And I went, come on. If you're watching this, Prosser, you can't do that. You can't. It's still in somewhere, it's still in a barn somewhere, rotting, and it still
Really?
doesn't have a fuel filler cap.
Oh, sad times. Right, let's move it on now. So, Chris, whenever we have a special guest on, and because you've seen and done a lot, what's that one story that makes you think, what the just happened there? Is there something that's happened in your life where you're like, I cannot believe this?
Recording Celebrity Juice was up there.
I bet it was, yeah.
There was I thought that the best way, I can't say play it, because when you see it, it's such a car crash, excuse the pun, that it's clear that I had no strategy because I'm too stupid. But I was sitting there, I've got Keith Lemon, Emily from The In-Betweeners, who's a legend, Richard Blackwood and some other people, and I got H and Claire from Steps. That was a big moment for me. And I'm sitting there, and they're talking. Keith Lemon is talking to Emily Attack about. He says to her, "Have you ever stuck your thumb up a man's butt?" And I'm there thinking, I've never seen this show, so I'm thinking, Jesus, that's strong. And she's going, no. And he goes, yeah, but because you paused and you're thinking about it, I think you probably have. And she went, and he just started laughing out loud. Next question, they're still talking about thumbs in bums. And they say to me, what about electric cars? And I'm thinking, well, I've just got to give a straight answer. Haven't I? So I'm there going, wow, the infrastructure's not quite there. So I went full adenoids because I thought I had to. And then I said, but now you can get back to talking about picking his thumb in someone's bum. And he went, thanks, and carried on. I looked forward and thought, but no, there's lots of moments. You know, when you're with, I'm a cricket tragic, so when you're stood having a massive squidge with Freddie Flintoff in the middle of Ethiopia in front of a Mini, you do think, wow, this is crackers. I didn't expect this to happen when I was picking up fag butts at Autocar 20-something years ago. I pinch myself every day, really. It sounds awfully sad and false humble, but everything. I still think I'll wake up and go, that wasn't real.
Yeah.
That can't have been real.
Because your life has changed a lot.
I think making a general entertainment show called Top Gear has been both enlightening and also a bit of a struggle, because I'm a proper car nerd. I'm not a generalist in that respect. I would rather sit and talk about cars and be around cars than anything else. And that's, Top Gear has a much broader spread than that. So I struggle with that a bit, but I can bring myself back because there's always some nerdism that I can get on with. I'm trying to think, there's a whole load of stuff from the first series that one day I'll write a book about with Mr. Evans and Matt and the others. That was absolutely freaking bonkers, if I'm honest with you. And I'm not going to do it now, sorry, but it was amazing. And also you forget that back then I've never been involved in something that people wanted to fail so much. That was the incredible thing. And am I friends with Chris Evans? No, I'm not. But what I will say is I've never seen the media attack someone the way he was on the front cover of The Sun pretty much every day going with some other story. And being having gone from something like Autocar magazine to then realising that the mass market media is a big old beast was amazing. So
do you think he was never going to win there?
No, he could. Do you know what? I don't know anything about football, but when Sir Alec Ferguson retired from Manchester United, another guy took over, didn't he? His name escapes me. And he was an abject failure. Began with R, his surname, didn't it?
It was
Schmeichel.
It was the Dutch guy.
Anyhow, but whatever happened, he was always going to fail. Because if you're in that sort of vacuum after something that's been a massive success, you just, in some respects, he was the sort of lightning rod for what came afterwards. Yeah. So I owe him some thanks for helping us through that period, because it was freaking beautiful and also brutal. But also for me personally, I'd gone from the internet where I had a fair amount of love. Most people quite like what I did.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because it was, it wasn't too expensive and it was pretty honest. So you go from being loved to being freaking hated, and you're there going, oh right, how does that work?
Yeah.
It's a bit strange, but we all come through it. I've probably not given you you wanted the absolute juicy story. I'll see if there's one that I can tell that won't
we
get
can come back
sued.
to that, shall we?
Yes.
All right. Right. So this podcast is obviously going to focus a lot on your involvement with Top Gear because it's such an iconic show that sparked off a lot of debate. So before we talk Top Gear, we actually received a message from someone when we said that we were going to have you on. So Ethan, do you want to read this one out?
Sure.
It's just nice to set the scene a little bit.
This is from George, and he says, "Hi guys, loving the podcast from you guys. I don't have a question for Chris Harris, but I wondered if you could pass on a message. I wanted to say what a great job he is doing. I've seen that he gets some stick online for Top Gear because he isn't Jeremy, but he comes across as a great person and as an amazing car journalist. I love watching his segments on the show and other bits online."
Oh, he needs a moment.
His pure passion for cars comes through, and it's great to see. Top Gear was always going to be difficult to continue, but I think Chris, Paddy and Freddie are doing a great job. So please keep up the great work. George.
Here.
Well,
I totally agree as well.
This is a very strange situation for me, because normally when he's involved, I expect rank cynicism.
Yeah, you're like, where's the joke?
And I'm always thinking, is he being serious? You can't tell, can you? So first of all, that's very nice, George. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it. And I get the feeling that people felt that last week when a couple of videos came out that I did with people that were not actually, only one of those was planned, the Johnny one, that I was somehow fishing for a load of compliments to make myself feel better. It's not the case at all. I'm a happy soul. I get on with my life. And actually the bit about mental health was just came out of the conversation. I'm not a great advocate for always talking about things. It's probably better if people do. And it's nice of him to say that. And it's been a strange old process. It was always going to be awful. I wrote an article on Jalopnik the week after the last Top Gear kind of finished when they left, saying anyone that takes this job is an idiot.
Yeah.
And then I went and took the job. So it's not as if I didn't know what was coming.
Career suicide were the words you used.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I in some respects it probably was for me. But I'm, look, I could put food on the table. I've still got one of the jobs most people kill for.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I love it. And I appreciate that in the last week, a lot of people have written notes either on commenting on videos or sent notes to me saying, don't worry, keep your chin up. There's a lot of us out here that like it. And the one way in which modern media is no different to printed media 20 years ago is that people are much more inclined to put pen to paper or to type an email, to be rude about something than they are to be nice
100%.
about something.
Yeah.
And that's always been the case.
They always shout the loudest, don't they? Because they're the biggest pricks. And they're the ones who are most sad in life as well. They just want to vent.
But some of the things that some of the stuff we do, I do look at it and go, well, I could have been better.
Like
and
what?
I think this time round, we struggled. We had to make an entire series in half the time under COVID conditions in the UK. That's a very big change for us. So some of the films just went on a bit too long, and we didn't. We decided to go without the guest, which I think is a good thing for us. I'm done with all that really.
Yeah, agreed.
And I wanted to be rid of it ages ago. We just need some other smaller elements that we can have some fun at, which break up the larger films. We'll work on those, I'm sure.
Well, if you need Three Stooges, we're right here.
Well, you guys are
20 quid a day.
I'll say it publicly. You guys are a great ideas factory because the stuff that you do that resonates for me is when you say what happens if you put diesel in a petrol, things like that are that they answer that they're answering the questions that you ask each other when you've had 3 pints down the pub.
Yes.
And that's great journalism, and I'd love to do that. But the problem is if you do it in the Top Gear world, you've got to get 3 cameras. It's 30 grand to do it because it's a big old beast. You don't turn the lights on for less than that really. When you're making it, and then it becomes too inertia ridden. The great thing about your world is you can just wake up one morning and go, it, let's do it, and you can do it. And I really miss that because I could do that with Neil.
So Neil works with you on Top Gear.
No, he doesn't. No, Nilo does. Nilo, we've got a production company as well. So Nilo does. He's just finished doing a series for Discovery with Tom Ford, which they did last year. And we are going to start doing some more web stuff at the end of the year.
Excellent, yeah. Excited about
that. It's not. I'm very proud of what we do on Top Gear, and weirdly, I'm very proud of some of the films that we did during the Evans series because we could have produced the best films ever. We didn't, but we could have done. They still would have been shit canned because they weren't. They weren't the Three Amigos.
Yeah.
So look, it's a funny old product to work on, and because it's so embedded in the national psyche and everyone has their opinion of what it should be for them, when you don't deliver exactly that, i.e. if one of you isn't a bit slow and mumbling, yet small, full of energy and large and cynical, then you're immediately not giving them what they want. So it was always going to be a problem.
Tough act to follow. Anyway, let's move it on to a Harris Q&A. I asked you guys to send me in your messages on Instagram, and you did. The first one is from Ethan. Ethan, this is yours.
Oh, I've got one.
You've got one,
sorry. I was quite interested to hear how difficult it was, or if it wasn't difficult to go for the Top Gear job. Was it a long decision process, or was it like?
It was. I sort of detailed this on Johnny's video, so I don't want to repeat myself if people are bored of me or bored with me already. The day that Chris Evans got the job, he phoned me, and I was doing a corporate film in Spain. And at the end of the conversation, he went, "But I'm not offering you a job." And I went, "Okay, that's weird." It was a half-hour conversation.
Thanks for the call.
Heard nothing for 3 months. Got a screen test. Got through to the last whatever. Then got a nice message saying, "You're not right for it. Bye. Don't need you." And I thought, okay, well, fair enough. This might be a shit show anyway. Went off, sorted my YouTube channel out for 3 months. Got sponsors on board. Then got a phone call from the BBC in September or October saying, "Oh, we might have got this a bit wrong. We think we do want you." And I went, oh, shit. And I thought, at that point, you do think, the 17-year-old me has to take this job.
Yeah, 100%.
I have to take this job. So I did say yes. pissed a lot of people off in the meantime because they had committed to me, and those relationships will never heal. But sometimes you have to make those decisions, and I'm sorry for that, but I had to do it. And then so I ditched everything on a promise of it was a run of 8 shows, and they said, well, this is the price you're going to get this per show, and it wasn't anything like sum of money that you probably think it was, but it was worth doing. And I walked in, signed the contract, having ditched everything else, and they said that Mr. Evans actually wants you to do 4 shows now. So I went from, they cut me in half, and I had to do it. I was already committed.
So it was his decision?
Yeah, he decided that he didn't want me in all the shows, which is fine. So it was a complete freaking nightmare. And I think the screen test, you'll know people that did the screen test. It was quite tricky. So you had to go to the Top Gear test track, and I didn't know which way it went really. I didn't, when you watch it on the telly, you don't have any great idea of the orientation of it at all, do you? You just see the tire wall, Gambon or whatever. So I didn't know where it went. And they said, here are 4 or 5 pieces to camera, learn them, and then deliver them as you drive around. Now, I've been doing this shit for years. I mean, the one thing I have no trouble with is talking and driving at the same time, but I don't learn lines. I just get in a car and talk shit.
Yeah.
So having to sit there and concentrate and go, deliver, I just thought, this is much more difficult than anything I've done before. And then slide the car at the same time. So I did an all right job at that. And then I said to them, can I just do 2 laps where I just talk about this car as it appeals to me or appears to me now? And they said, yeah, that's fine. I'm very glad I did that. And then we had to go and do this studio bit, which was absolutely cringe. That hangar, totally empty.
Yeah.
You're only 6 months after they've left. It's still big news in the media. And you're there. It was a bit like walking around a mortuary. The Top Gear, you felt the 3 of them in there with you. It was bloody awful.
Bizarre.
And I'm shite in a studio anyway, still am. And basically, I hated that bit. Got through that. And I remember I had to get a flight to America to go and do some other work. And I was driving to the airport, and I had that relief where I just thought, I'm not going to get this job because I was shite. But I'm glad that I had the balls to turn up, do the screen test. And you must have been in those positions as well. I'm really glad. And I thought, my overriding feeling was, I'm never going to have to do that again. I'm glad I've done it. And I was 10 minutes away from Dunsfold going towards Heathrow, and I got a phone call saying, can you come back? We forgot to press record on the mini camera.
Oh, no.
No way.
So I had to come back and do the whole freaking thing again. And at that point, I was dead.
Yeah.
Dead.
At that point, were you like, it, I've got nothing to lose? Do you think your performance second time round was actually better? Do you?
I
think
still
that
don't know
got
to
you
this
your
day
job?
whether it was a ruse to see how I handled that kind of, because that's the kind of, actually, that's the best preparation for what I do for a day job they could have given me.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens the whole time, is you do it, or you think we're recording the moment. But in television, you're not actually recording the moment. You might be. You
Sorry.
Oh,
Is that recorded?
yeah.
It's
I
gone.
don't- What's that red light?
No, we're good.
Don't you start. You had me there for a minute. Because you do have to do things again. You do have to sometimes, there'll be 8 cameras on you, and it's more important to capture the moment than the moment itself. It's tricky. So yeah, it was a pretty convoluted process. But I know so many people that went for it. The weird thing is that our world is quite small. So if you went for a conventional television gig, you probably wouldn't know the other people that are going for it. But everyone that went for it, I knew. I'd probably count half of them as my friends. And yet you're competing for this job.
Yeah.
And there's some slightly covert message going, have you been to the... And you're like, am I going to answer that? I'm not sure. But it was I never expected to get offered that job. To this day, I don't know whether I should have taken it. I still have great regrets for doing it, because I think that there's been aspects of my life that aren't as good now and haven't been as good because of it. I've probably missed out on 5 years of maybe making geeky content that I might have liked more. But actually, it's been, what I have loved is getting the chance to make big budget TV.
Yeah.
I've done what you guys have done, and therefore I have the ultimate respect for what you do, because I know that you're always doing it on a budget. And I was the same, sitting there thinking, right, so we're not going to park in that car park at the airport because that one's 20 quid more. So if we go down the road there, then that means we could spend that 20 quid on that, and I love doing that. But I don't want people to think that I've forgotten doing that.
Yeah.
But once you've done that, it is actually quite nice for someone to go, should we get a Russian arm in when we shoot the SF-90? And you're like, if we've got the money and we can, let's, because we'll be able to I can drift underneath the arm when it does that, and it will give us a shot that I've not seen before.
Yeah.
And I love that side of it. So Do you know what? The healthy balance is to have both in your life. That's why I want to get back to some YouTube, because I want to do that with Neil again. I want to get back and a bit down and dirty and do some real stuff.
I think the real car nerds as well, not even like people like me. I don't consider myself a proper car nerd.
I have got some news for you, son. That car outside means
great.
you are a committed car nerd.
All right, okay.
No one puts.
All right.
Okay.
I'm excited
Welcome
to see
the
you back
club.
on YouTube. I'm excited. I'm going to be excited to see some you nerd out a little bit more. It's long overdue. Anyway, let's move on. Sam asks, why do people call you Monkey? Is it because of your long arms or your laugh?
Could be both. It's not.
How long are your arms?
They're of normal. They look long compared to my legs. My legs are so short. It's a reference to Only Fools and Horses. There's a character in Only Fools and Horses that you never see, that Del Boy's always buying contraband off. He's just and sort of getting into nefarious scrapes with, called Monkey Harris. You never see him in any of the episodes, but quite often Rodney will go, "Oh, where'd you get that from, Derek?" And, "Oh, I bought it off Monkey Harris," and that's what I was called for. And obviously there are some simian connotations that people try and latch onto in this current day and age, but it's nothing to do with my ethnicity. It's just because of Only Fools and Horses.
There you go. Question answered. Nathan asks, biggest crash you've had?
The one that hurt the most didn't look that spectacular. It was a Formula Palmer Audi crash that I had in a Winter Series race at Snetterton about 20 years ago, because my head hit the side of the cockpit and I was convinced I was okay. First time I'd had a proper concussion, when you got a big deceleration in your noggin, and I thought I was fine. And they took me to the medical centre, car was a mess. And I was sitting there, and as I said, I remember saying, "I'm fine," and just chundering right next to the nurse. So that was the one that made me feel the worst. The destruction of the Touring a couple of years ago, first my black 911 Touring, that GT3, that was big. That was a really big hit, and a demonstration of just how strong those cars are.
Was that when someone was doing a 3-point turn?
Yeah, I came on a corner and there was just a truck in the middle of the road. I mean, it was one of those ones where you don't think, how am I going to avoid this? You just think, how much is this going to hurt?
Yeah.
Answer, quite a lot. And in terms of sort of car journo-y ones, I'd say 206 GTI launch. I put one in a field. Car looked cosmetically fine. There's a story on Jalopnik about this, but the car looked absolutely fine. I delivered it back at the end of the day's filming.
Yeah.
And it, honestly, if you looked around the car, you go, "This is fine," but there was a crease in the roof, so the shell was gone.
Wow.
The shell had gone, but the rest of the car looked fine. I've never seen like that. And I did also, on the way to my friend Richard Tuttle's wedding, I left to go to the wedding in a pressed Maserati, and I arrived in a different car.
What happened?
Some big up and downs. That was a long time ago, and I'm not glorifying crashing cars. I really am not, but it happened.
But he does make it sound really cool.
And I was going quite quickly and trying to overtake a very slow moving Fiesta. And I was doing that thing where you proper IAM, I pull out slowly, and I pull out gently beforehand, but I'm carrying speed. So I made a very gentle steering input to pull out. And as I crested, I thought, there's a car there it's going to be too close. It's just be unfair on the car coming towards me. So I pulled back in, but I was still probably 50, 60 yards behind this car, and it just anchored. It just stopped because I think he was looking in his rearview mirror, old guy, and he just stopped.
Yeah.
And I went into the back of him at a rate of knots.
Ouch.
And actually, his exhaust, the manifold came off the front of his engine. I remember that.
Wow. That's good going. That
But no, it wasn't good. And the Maserati
wasn't good.
I think it was an ex Maserati.
Okay. Julius asks, how immense is the pressure working on a show like Top Gear?
I don't feel the pressure anymore at all because I love who I work with. Paddy and Fred are good people to work with. They're good human beings. They're very funny. They're not cloying or sickly sweet. There's a great balance between being really nasty to each other, but in a nice way. That's the key to being friends, isn't it? Al Renton and Claire Pisey, who run the show, are brilliant as well. So, and I don't feel it was such a harsh baptism for me for being on mainstream television. I mean, I don't know anyone that's tried to take on a brand like that when it's reinventing itself. Normally, either the brand ends or there's an element of love for the rejuvenation because the person that was the previous incumbent left under different circumstances. So, if, for example, when Terry Wogan left Blankety Blank, he had a chance to say, "This is my last series," and everyone loves him, and then to make sure that the next person's loved by introducing them. We just got bang, a load of aggro between Jeremy and the BBC, and then we had to get in there, Lion's Den. So I don't feel the pressure anymore because it was so difficult to start with. I don't The bit that I will always find difficult to navigate is this relationship between the car enthusiast and the car generalist, or someone that just wants to watch telly on a Sunday night. Top Gear is essentially a general entertainment show that has cars in it. The car is still central to it, and we do put bits in that I think are quite car geeky. But fundamentally, if you produce the stuff that we like on YouTube and put it out at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night on BBC One, no one will watch it.
No.
They just say this is for saddos, like us. So, and I find that very difficult to navigate. That's the bit that does make me nervous, because I know what's coming. I know that I'll get a load of, oh, you sold out, or this is shite, or this. But actually, it seems, judging by the viewing figures, the people we want to like it, like it.
And I think the what am I trying to say? You get the kind of all the stuff with the Mr. Nippy messing around, and then you've got the serious segments. The relationship between those two, they're completely different, but as a show, it works really well because you are catering, like you said, to the generalist, and also to people like me who want to see you going sideways. So I think you're getting, everyone who even has a little interest in cars, you included.
Well, I was
right?
going to say, like the Honda E section for me, who I'm not majorly interested in cars. I was just really into that segment. But I still think, even though when you are doing those more nerdy pieces, you are still appealing to people like me.
Well, I think it's. I'm quite a long way into it. I've never had a job this long.
Really?
Longest I've had a job.
Wow. How long have you been on Top Gear now?
Well, it's coming on 5 years that I said
God,
that
does
I
seem
agreed
like a
to
long
do it,
time.
and I shot my first film first week of December 2015.
That is a long time
nearly
ago,
5
yeah.
years. I've never had a job this long.
What was the first thing you filmed for Top Gear?
First thing I filmed was a Ferrari F12 TDF sequence down in Paul Ricard. It was not my favourite few days, really, because there was a lot of... we hadn't been outed by the press then, so I had to keep everything secret. It was all different names for flights, and it was so in the public domain who was going to present the show, and they didn't want it to get out. And there was a mole in the office. There was lots of information coming out, so they were trying to find the mole.
Did you find the mole in there?
It was like a cross between What Car and a John le Carré novel. It was shite. They did. I think we now know who the mole was. So that was all a bit secret squirrel. But I felt very pressured. I got there, and I think a lot of the crew worked with the previous lot, and the director worked with the previous lot. It was quite clear they thought, we don't want you here. So I didn't get any direction, really. I basically just got there, and they said, yeah, just do that. And I was like, you've got to help me here a bit.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is the biggest mistake I've made. Why am I doing this? And also, my lad's Christmas piss-up from school, I had to miss it for the first time in 20 years to go and do this filming. And that really pissed me off.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on, priorities.
I know. How much of Top Gear is actually scripted? Like your segments, your nerdy car segments, do you have to script that and get it all past?
What you got to do is, with a power test, as we call it, with a nerdy bit, a car test, you need a structure so the director can get his head round his shots, how they're going to cut with each other, and some of his FX and some of the things he wants to do. So you do need to have some lines that you just hit. Because particularly John, who's our main director, John Richards, he's a genius, but he will want you to give it a power, so then he can give it a double snick and then a what have you. He needs some of those signature things for structure. But in terms of what my opinions, no, I try and do it as off the cuff as possible. When I first did it, they wanted it fully scripted, and it killed me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as good. But you sit there and say, it won't be as good, but they're going, we've made telly for 30 years.
Yes.
What do you know?
Yeah.
And when it comes to cocking about, it's just there's no script. I love it when people say it's just scripted. It's not. It's just us cocking about. But there's a structure to the days. We don't just turn up you don't just turn up and go, oh, look, we're at a stately home and there's a chair on top of a Bentley. Of course we freaking know that.
Oh, that was weird. That was bizarre.
I'll tell you what, that is the most... Sometimes you can't quite capture the energy of it because you only do it once. That's the hilarious. I've driven something in those circumstances. There's one point where I was on the grass in a Bentley, fully lit at about 60 miles an hour with Fred on the roof.
With a man on top.
I could not have driven the thing any harder. If I'd driven any harder, I'd have crashed. I would have crashed.
Bloody hell. Right, Phil's got a really interesting one. I hope you'll answer this. Was it as strange to work with Chris Evans as it was to watch?
Yes. End of. I'm very careful what I say here because I don't want to. I'm not here to point score. Like I've said, I actually have a sense of gratitude for the fact that he was brave enough to take something on that he must have known was going to be nigh on impossible. I hate qualifying the word impossible, but in that case, maybe I can. But we're very different people. I mean, I'm a car geek, and he's just one of the nation's best known entertainers.
Yeah.
But let's not kid ourselves. It didn't work, and as it didn't work, we were still filming studios on that weekly basis. So you had that weird situation where you're part of a ship that's sinking quite quickly, and everyone's going, "We got to keep paddling for another 3 weeks," and you're there going, "What this is?" And by the end, it was utterly bizarre. I mean, totally bizarre. And I still can't quite believe it happened, but it did, and everyone's still alive. And the great thing about Top Gear is this: even when it's at the epicenter of the cluster area of the national media, and everyone's just going, "It's shit. They're all shit." It's just a show about cars.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to cure cancer. I don't do anything serious. There's nothing about what we do that matters. Nothing.
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
This podcast doesn't matter.
Exactly. So at the end of it, you can just go, it's about cars. But yeah, it was utterly bizarre part of my life.
Yeah.
That's why I don't get it when people start arguing on Twitter about a car and stuff like surely there is something you care about more.
I like the partisan nature of it, and that's why I sat down with this guy, Razzies. Because I think healthy debate for car nerds is great. That's what makes great ideas, and that's why I can tell that you lot have an office, because the level of ideas that you come up with would not happen if you just sat on your own, working at home. You need to go to an office, have lunch with people, talk shit with people to have ideas.
Yeah, that's true.
And so healthy debate is good.
Yeah.
But when you're hidden behind a fake username on a keyboard, and you want to just row with someone or just go, "That's shit," or "I think your car's shit," or "Because you drive a Porsche, you're f***ing paedophile." I mean, all this stuff is it's nonsense, and I won't engage with that anymore.
No.
Good stuff. Kieran asks, what is the best and worst thing about working for Top Gear?
The best thing is that occasionally people come up to you and say, "You're doing quite a good job," and I keep my head down, and I'm not out and about that much. But when that happens, it's nice. The other best thing is that I get to work with a bunch of people that make some stunning films. I go back and look at the film I made where I'm trying to hunt Bigfoot in the Californian forest with Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah.
So I'm there with the bloke that I used to
Joey.
I'm there with Joey.
Is that the one where the smaller vehicles came out of?
Yeah. And he had a magic truck.
That's it. Yeah.
You don't get to do that unless you work on Top Gear. We could save our budgets on YouTube for 5 years. You can be able to afford to do one thing.
Yeah.
So
who comes up with those kind of ideas? Do you all sit
do
together?
you know what? Matt is obsessed with Bigfoot. So he remains a good mate of mine, and he just loves Bigfoot. So when I went to his ranch to stay with him, I'm like, having a fag outside, a bit hammered, go for a wink. Can I go for a wink or just take a piss in them? I go there, and I trip over this thing. It's a little metal figure. So I get my phone out and go, "It's a little Bigfoot." And he goes, "Yeah, you see him?" And he's got little Bigfoots.
Oh,
and he loves, and he speaks very cogently about it. He always says, and he talks about there's a forest in Washington State that is, if you look at it on a map, it's about the size of our country.
Really?
And he just says there's areas of that forest that have never been visited by a human being and probably never will. So is it conceivable there's something in there that we haven't seen? And when he puts it that way, you believe it. So he always said,
hunting.
and he always said to production, "We're going to do a film where me and Harris go and look for Bigfoot." and he was, I just loved it. And do you know what? And he's a private guy, but he sent me a lovely note. He sent a photo. He was out on holiday with his daughter, and he was up in those forests. He was in Northern California in the forest, and I went, "Have you?" Something along the lines of, "Watch out," and he said, "I'm sure I saw him this morning." He loves it.
Oh, excellent. Right, a couple more questions. Michael says, this is a great one as well. One lap with your driving hero, who, where, and what in?
Okay. I've done it before, but it'd be with Walter Rawl.
Amazing, yeah.
He's the man.
Yeah.
I love his approach to driving. I was lucky enough to race with him twice, share a car, and just love the way he went about it. Just brutal, Germanic efficiency, coupled with, I think, unparalleled skills. It's interesting, during the Colin McRae film, I was sitting with Jimmy in a car waiting to film. And I said, come on, then you were Group B era. You were with Toivonen and Vatten and all the greats. Who was the man? Was there one that sat above all the others? And he went, yeah, there was. And I expected him to say Vatten, and he went, Walter. He said, a couple of times I would get back from a stage and look at one of Walter's times and just go, that doesn't compute.
Wow.
So Walter.
And then I've got a question for you. If you could go back 5 years, let's say if you could go back 7 years, what advice would you give yourself?
When you're responding to a situation or a person or an offer of a job or anything, don't deny yourself the chance to listen to your first instinct, that guttural reaction that you have to something. Don't over-process and overthink and take 19 feeds of advice and then try and come to a reasoned decision, because quite often that you think what you're doing is being rigorous, but actually you're muddying what was your initial reaction. So I'd say that to myself. I'd say you were right about more than you were wrong about, definitely. I'd say if the BBC calls and says, do Top Gear, go and read that article you wrote in Jalopnik about why you shouldn't present Top Gear. And I'd say just keep reminding yourself that this is the most blessed life and you have no right to have this, and you should understand that people are going to have little sympathy with you when things aren't right, because it's still the best job in the world.
Yeah. What was your gut reaction to the Top Gear thing?
Don't do it.
Okay. So you say you should have listened to that.
Well, yeah, because I just, I'd said to people, don't do it, because I didn't expect to be offered it. I really didn't. That's what I'm being truthful. I didn't expect to be offered it, and therefore, but at the time, I look back, Car Throttle from the start was a business. It was a business that was conceived by a clever person and supported by clever, capable people. Whereas what we were doing on YouTube was different. We were funded initially by YouTube. When that funding ran out, we were left with this awful situation of having a product that was popular, doing big numbers, but still couldn't generate enough ad revenue to support itself. So everyone's going, it's great, we love you. We're going, well, we can't do it anymore. Yeah. And at that point, when someone comes along and offers you something, you say yes to it. The editorial parallel is this. You're working on a car magazine. This is what always happens. You start a new car magazine. You're full of fresh ideas. We're going to do it right. And you always get offered this situation where you have to get a load of people together to do the ultimate 205 hot hatch test. So you've got to go to Yorkshire. You've got to basically herd all these cats that are owners of these cars. And you're sitting there thinking, this is costing too much money. And the bloke with the 1.9 says we can't drive it after 4 p.m. because his wife doesn't like you doing that. And then BMW phones you and says, do you want to go to Spain and go on the new M6 launch? And you go, yeah, we won't do that. Yeah. We'll go and do that. And you take the line of least resistance.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me. Mm-hmm. Basically, I had this, do it on your own and make something of it.
Yep.
And it'll be complicated and it'll be like this and you probably will never get there. Or take this, it'll probably be easier. I'm not sure whether it was or not. But I was never going to assume a volume that some of these influencers have, because I'm not as craven to the car manufacturers. I'm not going to do that. And I don't want to hawk my life around on Instagram. I don't want to buy cars to become interesting. I mean, what a weird thing to do. I totally respect the fact they do it.
God, we do that.
Yeah, but you do it. But you do it in the right way. I gravitate to what you do, but I
buying
don't.
Shit boxes.
Yeah.
That's
The
what
idea of
those
owning 10 supercars, to say you've got 10 supercars.
I don't know anyone who does that. No.
But it's just, the only thing that's odder than doing it is the fact there's clearly a real appetite for people to know about that stuff.
It is bizarre, yeah.
And
I
so
think
if you're only responding to a demand, then no one can blame you for that. No. But I still think it's very strange that society doesn't think that's odd.
Yeah.
Surely now, though, that now you've done Top Gear and you've been doing this for a while, if you decided that I want to go back to that stuff, that I want to make, that's going to help you. Do you know what I mean? You're going to have been in front of people
we've got a good latent audience sitting there. I think if we rebooted the channel, I think we get the numbers quite quickly. So I'm not worried about that at all. Mm. And I think now the BBC is much more relaxed about its inverted commas talent doing other stuff, because the show is back on its feet and doing good numbers. So all it's going to do is, the gravity is now with Top Gear, and the audience is going to come to it from what other stuff we're doing. The problem is that my other two co-hosts are talented people that have a life outside of cars, whereas I don't. as celebrity juice proves.
And that's why you're here and they're not.
Well,
They didn't pick up the phone when I called. You were straight on it.
I was like, I'm desperate.
I actually have a question, Chris, if you don't
Go
mind.
on.
The Damn film with Freddie.
Oh God.
How
Oh, that's a reaction.
how stressful was that?
I thought it was, for me, it was horrendous. I don't like heights much. How he did it, I don't know. He's not cut from the same cloth we are. He's a very different human being. There's a reason why he scaled the heights he did in international sport, because his brain is just in a different configuration to us. He can just block things out.
Yeah.
So he was hanging there for 45 minutes before we actually got going.
Yeah, because
And I've never seen a drop like it. There's something about the way it was contained. The light that day was just sensational. You might remember the clear skies. It had this crispness to it. And then we saw the guy driving the crane just looked like he just stumbled out of Oktoberfest. And it'd come from Germany, that thing. It was the crane manufacturers. It was their Rolls-Royce Phantom. It was the MF. And I just looked at it and thought, well, that can't work. But, when you've got a load of Germans there going, oh, this is no problem. They're very reassuring, aren't they?
Easy.
I thought it was a great example of what Top Gear can do, because it's got the budget to do it, it's got the imagination to do it. Hands up, when they said they were going to do it, I went, waste of money. We can spend that more wisely. And when we saw it at the Leicester Square Odeon when we launched the series, I went, yeah, that's why I shouldn't be any kind of editorial control, because I got that wrong.
it's when it goes over.
When it
like
goes
that.
over like that, and he's just upside down,
Yeah.
and you're thinking, drone shot. It was just outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. And
Is
I
that the sketchiest Top Gear thing you've done?
No, not
Oh, what's been sketchier than dropping a man off?
rolling the hearse was.
Oh, yeah.
was bad.
Yeah, that did look quite difficult.
Good.
Yeah. And what about the Wall of Death?
Horrible. I mean, the hearse was, for a split second, I'm not getting out of this.
And that was that Freddie driving that?
That was Freddie driving that, because it went over on my side, and it's a long time gone now, but the A pillar went, and it was just in the dirt basically, eating dirt at 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So that wasn't good. Wall of Death was horrible actually, because sustained G is a strange concept, one that none of us really ever endure unless you do a lot of stunt plane flying, which I weirdly enough don't do. And I don't like flying anyway. So you start to grey out. And the problem so fundamentally what you're doing, your brain's saying, to get up there I need speed. Speed is the method to stay up there, because I know that I've basic understanding of physics. The faster I'm going, the more I'm being pushed into the wall.
Yeah.
Safer I am. Speed's your enemy, because what you need is a technique to get up there with the lowest amount of speed possible, because speed is putting your body through too much G. So at about 45, 50 miles an hour, you can stay up there. And at that point, you can actually drive. You have to pump a bit, because you're getting it. You're still probably pulling 3.5 G at that point. But if you start going 55, 60, like Fred did nearly 70 on one. And we didn't have a G meter on, but I reckon he would have been near 5 G. He must have been. Anyhow, I went too fast and started to grey out. And if you've ever been in a stunt plane, you know that feeling when you start to grey from the sides and you feel it coming. And the worst thing about it is your fear, fix or flight reaction. Every human being has that. They've studied it for years. Goes out the window. You become euphoric. So you don't get... So whereas if I was to get a tiger there now, you'd either freeze, fight thing, or run.
I'm fighting it.
You would do one of those things. What you wouldn't do is go over all euphoric and go and try and hug it. And that's what happens. So you get this euphoria. So you start going, well, this is all right, isn't it? And that's just before you black out. So it was judging that was the problem.
Yeah.
God.
I wouldn't ever do it again. On most things I go, I'd do that again. I wouldn't do again. I didn't enjoy it. And it sounded so... When the Maserati was going around practicing, I was outside on a phone call outside the actual wall. And the whole thing was shaking, and the noise.
Because it's a big old structure, isn't it?
Massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
I don't think it really translated on camera that well.
You couldn't.
It's huge.
But also that drone shot when they're going through the door of Ali Pali and then it just dipped into the wall.
Yeah,
I watched
yeah.
that and went, that's some drone work.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Right, we're now going to move it on to a piece of car advice. And Jack, do you want to read this one?
I'll read this one out. Hi, Alex, Jack, Ethan, and guest. I'm considering a road trip for my 40th birthday, taking in the sights of Europe's motoring circuits and the green hell. I had thought about taking my 17-plate Fiesta EcoBoost, but after watching your channel and podcast, it's got me thinking I could get a road trip car and not put the miles on my daily driver. So here's the challenge. I need a car that will eat up the miles with some comfort, fun to drive on circuit, but not necessarily going to set a blistering lap around the Autobahn, and bonus for something interesting. Oh, by the way, I have less mechanical experience than Ethan. Jesus.
Not possible.
Right. So something that's less likely to shit its pants when I get to Germany would be nice.
But he's
Thanks,
not giving us a
Brian.
budget. Oh no, up to
$2 grand.
£2,000.
$2 grand.
$2 grand,
There, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to be pragmatic here. I think you've got to stay away from rear-wheel drive because I don't think it doesn't like it's got much rear-wheel drive experience, and a wet circuit at that money you're going to have no traction control, and that's probably a come home on an EasyJet job, isn't it? Excuse me. So I'd say
Take the EcoBoost.
no. I'd say
Take the train.
I'd get whatever Civic Type R I
That's a
could
good
for the
shout.
money. Probably.
Yeah.
I think the good thing about going and visiting a few circuits and a Nürburgring is a car that doesn't have much torque and really revs makes you feel like you're doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hasn't got enough torque to be a problem. So it's not going to spit you off. It's front wheel drive. So I think what EP would it be? EP5 would it be for that?
Yeah, definitely not the 3 because they're
No.
about $3
Yeah,
grand,
yeah.
aren't they? Yeah.
So I think that would be my choice. Whatever you can do that revs high. It's got a nice little gearbox and it's mechanically tough, but I wouldn't take you daily because there's a very good chance it won't come back.
Yeah,
Particularly if you can we also agree that we call it the Nürburgring, not the green.
Yeah,
hell?
let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a strong possibility that you will, and make sure you insure yourself for the Nürburgring because the crash barriers are expensive.
Yeah, very expensive. I would say, what about something like a Clio 182? They're $2 grand.
You nicked
They
my,
are.
nicked my suggestion.
I'm not there.
Oh.
It's either the Civic or the Clio, isn't it? In all those conversations and questions you get asked, it's one or the other. What's interesting is they're developing more and more bits for these Clios to make them even better.
Yeah.
And it seems to me it's almost become a more popular vehicle to tweak than the Civic now. Would you agree?
I don't know. I haven't really kept that much of an eye on them.
I
to be
followed a
honest.
Clio the other day that was so trick. It had all like the beam had been done at the back. It
Really nice.
It looked like, and a lot of bits. I spoke to someone recently about them and said, no, these Clios are really coming on. My problem with the Clio is this: the driving position is just terrible.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. I, thought
I hate the
too
seat
high
position.
as well.
That's one of the things. He wants to be comfort as well, doesn't
Yeah.
he? So he's asking for
That
quite a
Clio,
lot in
yeah, but the
this.
Clio, you just sit like you're driving a bus. I
Yeah.
just hate those. I hate the driving position.
What about you can get an E46 330 for $2 grand easy?
Yeah, you can, but it sounds to me like he's the front driver. And I think if he gets there and the Nürburgring's wet and it's a bit
Yeah,
oily, and
yeah.
he'll do that thing. Who's the bloke that came on at Brunchen? There's a famous video of the bloke, these two lads, British boys, and they're in a BMW 325i. They're like London boys. Oh, is he a
I remember
Scouser?
that.
He goes, oh, we're finally here. And he doesn't even get up the X
Yeah,
Muller.
yeah.
He puts it in on the first right handle. And I just so for me, I'm not going to advise someone that's not really
Fair
because
play,
you
that's
can
good
have a
shout.
massive stack in a 330i
Yeah.
if you didn't know what you were doing at the Nürburgring.
Yeah. And they also do say that one lap of the Nürburgring is the equivalent of 7,000 road miles. Does that make sense? Would you agree? Tires, brakes,
Yeah, probably is.
shit in your pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably accurate.
Yeah.
The
What about
laundry.
you? What you got?
Oh yeah, I've got
Here we go.
big list.
Listen up, people.
I don't know what WRX wagon or something. I'm gonna go for that.
oh, really?
Would that be
You're
good?
right for a suit?
No,
Okay.
Subaru for me. Subarus always are underbraked.
Oh, okay.
Of that era, they're massively underbraked. So you just cut the brakes,
Okay.
and you can fit big brakes to them. I know, and they never quite. The benefit of a Subaru is traction. You know, you can throw a load of power at it easily, and they just feel fantastic coming out of second gear bends, don't they, on a B road? But out
That's
of
what I was going for.
and there isn't a single corner at the Nürburgring where you'll be in second gear. Even the Verzyfen, you'll be in third in a WRX. So you get none of the real benefits of the four-wheel drive system, and they never feel that quick round there to me. I've driven loads of them round there. I remember taking a pre-production P1, a development car, round there in '99. It would have been.
Wow.
And coming back thinking, it felt amazing on the road. Race circuits have this incredible ability to just soften and sort of make ordinary high performance. You can be in something really quick on the road. You get it on a circuit after 2 laps, you're going, and the Nürburgring's got a lot of places where your tap's wide open. So
Just shows the car up.
That's why I like the high revving thing, because the high revving thing means you really feel like you're tanking on, but you're not. So it's all about gratification. I've thought about this, you see. So that I'm standing by the Civic.
All right. Well, I don't think anyone can argue, right?
No.
All right. And you've done the Nürburgring a lot, haven't you?
Yeah, I did. I didn't do it. I had a drive this year, but I couldn't do it because of work. I think I've done 10 24-hour races there.
Oh, wow. That's my dream to do a 24-hour race.
You'll be able to do it. It's a great thing about that race. It remains one of the great races available to ordinary citizens like us to go and do it. You can get a seat in an E46 BMW, someone nearer the back of the grid, and say you've done it and have a great time. Yeah. That's how I started.
Someone DM me, please. All right.
Yeah.
Let's make that happen.
Just do it. Just do a contra deal, get some advertising in, and go and do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Go on.
Do you want to be a guest driver? We're going to do it with Ben as well.
Oh, dream team.
Okay, that's a no. Let's move on.
I'm not sure I could do it with Stiggy because I just think the chat. Because we went to rival schools, and even now we're in our mid-40s. The first time we see each other, it's like, your school's shit. He gave me his book. Where's his book?
Yeah, you took the piss out of the book, didn't you?
I immediately went, because you went to your school. Do you have a spell checker? Because you can't spell. This is Ben's book. It's excellent, and it contains no spelling mistakes. A spell checker on it.
He's already had too many promos on our podcast, so we're going to have to cut that. Otherwise, we're going to start charging him.
Okay.
Anyway, let's move it on to another message from the audience. And this is being written in by someone who would like to remain anonymous. Not a question, but a statement, and would like to remain anonymous. I want to thank Chris for opening up about looking for help when it comes to his mental state in his interview with Johnny Smith. As a person who listened to Chris for years and idolizes what he can do behind the wheel of a car, I can honestly say it has helped me ask for help, knowing that someone I look up to has done the same. Thank you, Chris, you absolute legend.
Obviously I find all this stuff quite uncomfortable. That's why I'm looking at the ground and anywhere apart from the camera.
Your videos with Johnny, fantastic.
Well,
really
that's
good.
Johnny because he's a good lad, and I was, I wanted to help him relaunch his channel because he's a great guy. He's one of the most talented people in our industry, and he doesn't get the recognition he deserves. So anything I can do to help him. Look, the subject of mental health is not one. I'm not a great talker. That's why I got myself in a pickle. I'll always be like that. I waited too long before I got some help, but I'm very glad that I did. And also, the most important thing is that it's not just a moment in time. You need to carry on. Don't be ashamed of it. Get on with it and do what you do. But I'm not going to sit here and opine for hours about it. It's just don't be afraid. And we now live in a society where there is really nothing that's embarrassing. That's why I did Celebrity Juice.
But was a big part of your seeking help to do with Top Gear?
Yeah, I mean, we all have quite complicated lives, so there was other stuff. But yes, I still couldn't understand the level of animosity and hatred that was being thrown at me, and still is. And it wasn't that I was just being broken by it. I didn't expect it to be an easy ride. I really didn't, and I still don't. I expect if you put yourself into the public eye, you should expect a lot of people to not like you for all sorts of different reasons. Many of which you won't understand, but that doesn't mean that they don't have a right to dislike you. It's just the way that people express it, and I have a massive problem with the way social media is configured. I just think there should be legislation that means that you should not be able to sign up to a platform unless you give a photograph of who you are, your address, your email address, your phone number, and where you live. Until you are identified as a citizen and you are willing to share that identity with someone else, you shouldn't have the right to comment. And I think that would be very easily solved by all platforms if they wanted to, but they won't do it. So that's the bit that I found difficult is when people are, and if you catch someone at the wrong moment, if you're all chirpy chappies, but I'm sure you have your low days. And if you're having a low day and you've had a bad argument with a wife, or your dog's just died, or your mum's unwell or something, and then you look at your phone and someone just sends you a direct message saying you're shit, you've ruined the show. If I saw you in the street, I'd piss on your head or something. You're like, well, I'm not sure. Don't need that. Right. And that's all it is. So for me, it's not a big cry for help, and I'm uncomfortable talking about it. But that's where it ends for me. But if you need to get help, Christ, it is amazing. It really works.
Awesome. Right, let's move on from that then, shall we? Next section, grinds my gears. So every week we have something that pisses someone else off.
How long have you got, lads?
Oh yeah, I've got one that I just want to get off my chest. 3D and 4D gel laser cut number plates. I think they look shit, and I wish they would get banned. I hate them. Thank you.
I followed one last night, and there's no way it's legal.
Oh, there's
no
so
way
many
you
that
could
are
read
so
it.
illegal. Yeah,
That's what I don't understand. It's not legible.
No.
So why have it?
I can't stand them. I'm also over those sort of German-looking number plates. Any number plate that tries to look like a number plate from another country. Go
What
on.
about if you are German?
That's fine. The
Yeah.
German number plates look great. No, I don't mess with your number plates. I've got a sticker on the front of my yellow car, but it's the digits are the correct size. It's absolutely I totally agree. And dodgy spacing, all of it. But the 3D cut ones, if you've got an old Mini from 1973, then fine. And you've got the raised digit number plate and it came with it originally, absolutely fine. But don't put one on that's been absolutely chavved to the monkeys on your latest BMW because it looks shite.
I actually saw one on a BMW 330, and the number plate, the actual numbers, I shit you not, came out a good 15 mil. It's like the thickest, fattest numbers and letters I'd ever seen.
Do you ever see these things when you see these aesthetic disasters and immediately start wondering what other things are going on in that person's life? What does their house look like? Do they have a chimenea in their sitting room?
Is that bad?
There he goes. He's good at it. And what else do they think is acceptable? What else that when they're having sex, do they do weird things? Are they just strange people? What is their value system so? Do they think that number plate is acceptable?
Oh right, I think we're opening up a can of worms.
I'm on the fence about them, but you guys
really?
hate them. Yeah, I would take.
Would you take some gel number plates?
Do you know?
for your
Recently,
BMW?
I was had to get new plates for the 530, and I was thinking, should I go for the?
Oh,
3D?
just do-
Just do the Duraday. Get a proper Max Power 90s italic one.
Yeah.
Or the ones that when they used to be following a car going, that's not got a number plate, and there'd be a line drawing with a really florid, italicized script, as if it was like the beginning of a Dickens novel. You'd be like, how is that legal? Answer: it's not.
Anything else that grinds your gears? I mean, we don't have all day, so maybe just one or two.
My perpetual hate is people that do 45 miles an hour down a national speed limit road and then do 45 miles an hour through the 30 village. That's not acceptable. Those people should be lobotomized.
There we go. There's our hook, boys.
Can't deal with that.
Do you like middle lane hogs?
I've got two views on that. The middle laner as a species is reprehensible. Probably should be denied the right to live. But there is an exception. If you drive a car, an old supercar that's got very wide rear tyres and quite narrow front tyres, they can't handle truck grooves. The truck grooves on the inside lane are impossible. This sounds ridiculous. That 512 TR I've got, you try driving that to London on the inside lane because the fronts sit beautifully and it will almost steer itself to London, and the rears just start doing this, picking up edges.
That's not nice.
I don't snowboard. I've done it 3 times, and I remember going really slowly on a snowboard on a flat bit to get to a bar, and the snowboard just started doing weird things on the edge because I couldn't control it because I wasn't going fast enough. That's how it feels in the car. So that's the one excuse. So if you see a Diablo,
Okay.
a red one that's not been
say
crashed
I've
by a
seen
member of the
one.
car, then that's the only excuse. So middle lane hoggers.
Okay.
I mean, there's just so many cars. Where none of us is perfect, but I still. My biggest pet hate of all of them that sits so far above anything else and gets me into trouble is people throwing litter out of car windows.
Oh, Alex loves that.
Because I can't help it. So I will stop. If someone's I will pick it up and take it to them and go, I think you dropped this.
Yeah.
And when you're not on telly, you just come across as a slightly angry Arab-looking bloke. But if you are on the telly, they go, "Oh, it's that bloke off the telly," and he looks like he wants to kill me. But I will go. I just think it's unacceptable.
Yeah,
It's just awful.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Yeah, the amount of times that I've honked at people, I've literally chased people down.
Yeah, we chased that guy down your road, didn't we?
Yeah, someone. It was a full KFC box.
Full,
Yeah.
And
terrible.
I actually undertook him, honked at him, and I told him to pick stuff up.
I've never seen Alex see red, but that day
I was-
he
yeah.
went for him.
Totally
Livid.
agree. It's
Livid.
unacceptable
Yeah.
behaviour. I think, and I suppose I
getting angry now.
There's a special place in hell for people that speed outside schools at going home time, and I think There's another one that I quite like at the moment, which is the keyboard warrior that hides behind an identity and has a picture of their super fast Porsche, normally quite expensive, and they just dismiss everything and are generally rude to everyone. And they're probably powerfully built company director that lurks on piston heads. And then you finally meet them at a track day, and they are shite.
Yeah.
They are there mincing about, and you just think, it's all fraudulent.
Yeah.
You make out to the world you're this driving god, and you are absolutely shite. And I actually quite that doesn't make me angry. The process of finding out they're shite is painful. But the moment of realization, just thinking, God, you're a fraud, is lovely.
Oh, amazing. Talking about keyboard warriors as well. You know our Honda versus public transport video that we did, a bit of Top Gear rip. Anyway.
I've not seen it yet, but everyone said, I love it, because obviously the internet loves the internet. So they're going, this is what Top Gear should be. I'm going, me go.
I'll send you some more of those.
I bet it's
I'll
very
DM
good.
them. But
I want all of your ideas to come and help us to make our studio element better. So you don't predicate anything here. You never know. There might be some work in this.
all right. Anyways, loads of people messaging in the comments of the YouTube channel saying, "Oh, no wonder you lost the race." Spoiler alert. You were riding in the slow lane the whole time. It's like, no, you idiot. We had a tracking car. We needed to get the shots. I was doing most of the way. But yeah, for that part, I was doing
didn't mean
56.
100 kilometers.
No, we got the bleep machine.
Welcome to the world of turn.
It is amazing though, like how desensitized people are to like videos or film or anything and what goes into it. And it's like when we left that trolley at the.
Oh my God.
We left for this shop. We had the car rolling away from a trolley where Alex had just done some shopping, and everyone in the comments was like, "You're a prick leaving that trolley there. Like someone's got to put that away." So, well, yeah, of course we put that back.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, welcome to my world. You just wouldn't believe the way people scrutinise things, or the assumptions they make about the image that's in front of them. I don't know about you, but ever since I watched Jurassic Park in the cinema, aged whatever I was, 16, I've never trusted a moving image again. I walked into the cinema and I thought Star Wars was high tech, and I saw a dinosaur. And after that I went, if they can make a dinosaur, we can never believe anything ever. And I haven't believed. Honestly, that opening shot of that big
Amazing. Another one. We're both fairly short. Do you get loads of people coming up to you saying, "Oh, you're short"? It's like,
loads.
Yeah.
You must get that as well. I get you're actually shorter than you look.
Yeah.
What? Well, that's how I look. Okay. No. And
or I thought you'd be taller, and then I'd be like, "Well, I thought you'd be nicer." And then
that's quite a good response. Yeah. I thought you'd be cleverer, is the one I often said. But or I say I didn't think, I had no preconceived ideas because I don't know who the you are. No, and I work with two really big blokes.
Big lads,
I've always worked with big blokes, and I'm very happy being small. It suits me now to the ground. I don't have any knee issues.
Except on knee issues.
Don't have any back issues.
On motorbikes, though.
Motorbikes,
we have issues.
Yeah, motorbikes is get your feet down.
Segue into motorbike chat. There we go.
Go and get a coffee, lads.
Okay, yeah. We'll
Talk to me, Chris. What do you ride?
I got an Aprilia 2.0. Well, I had one. I've got another one coming because it got written off. I got run over by a dust cart. Just down there. I've got a couple of fast midlife crisis Ducatis. I've got a KTM 300 EXC, which I'm enjoying, enduro bike, and a few other bits and bobs, which I quite enjoy.
So these two, they've no interest, and I've actually threatened them with getting them a CBT through Honda, and they're just like, "Nah, I'm not up for it." What would you say?
Okay, this is what I'd say. I think you guys have a critical curiosity around the subject of motoring. That means that unless you can see everything from different points of reference, really, you haven't painted the full picture of what you're experiencing. So, for example, how often do you rent a van for a day, and then as you're halfway through the day think, I'm glad I've done that because I know I have more sympathy for van drivers, that I need to give them a bit more time when they want to overtake because I'm trying to do it now, and it's a pain in the arse when the thing is trying to accelerate between 72 and 82 miles an hour. It takes a day. So I'm going to sit back next time I see about doing that because I realise, now if you can do that with a motorcycle, you suddenly will make yourself a better driver. And I think everyone that drives should have to spend at least a day on two wheels in traffic and experience vulnerability, experience braking distances, experience courtesy, in the sense that when you approach a situation, if your default position is, I could die now, you take a very different view of it, and you will be a better driver because of it.
That is my default position already.
Well, I could die now.
Yeah. That's when I think about bikes.
Of all the arguments that you've
Oh,
found.
of course. Of course.
That
it's better
makes the
than
most.
mine,
That
yeah.
makes the most sense to me.
I've pretty much just said you're doing it. Like you have no choice. But
Well,
he's actually come
I'm
up
pretty
with
sure
it.
it's my choice.
I would do it that way. I'm lucky, and you guys are as well, probably, or you are, Alex, because my day job means I get to cock about in cars and do lots of silly stuff. I think when you use motorcycling as a form of catharsis to purge yourself of how boring your day job is, then it's naffing dangerous.
Yeah, very much.
That
so.
if you're going out to just go mental on your, GSXR on Saturday because you hate your day job, I'm not there. That's a problem. I think that's when you come unstuck. But I don't need to do that, so I wobble about quite slowly, and I just love the sense of being on my own. I also love the fact that you have to concentrate 110%.
Yeah.
On what you're doing. I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about what my kids are doing or whether I've paid a bill. I'm just thinking about riding the bike well and my environment around me
Yeah.
and concentrating. And there's very few things we do these days that allow you to do
Yeah,
that.
But that seems strange as a plus, though. Like that you have so much concentration and not coming off or not or driving well. Do you know what I mean? Like it seems like a strange.
Well, I
view
talk to
me.
myself. You get taught to talk to yourself normally.
Yeah.
And so it's really weird. You can almost have a Terminator style conversation with yourself. You're driving going, oh, watch out for left turn in there. Telegraph poles. And you can put the adenoids on and be a little bit, I quite like it.
I get your argument, like Jack's saying, but for me, it's just that added danger. I mean, I'm not a massive petrol head anyway, and I get what.
But what are you doing here then, son?
I get what I need to from a car.
I've pretty much roped him in over
Yeah,
the years to be
yeah,
in
yeah.
videos. Yeah.
No, I think...
I just don't want that added danger. in my
No, and
life.
I would sympathise with that completely, but I would also say that if you take that attitude, you just wouldn't leave the house in the morning, would you? And I do a job where it seems every other week someone's trying to either hurt me badly or kill me. So I'm not too worried about that side of it. And I also think it's the great cliche is the midlife crisis motorcyclist, isn't it? You get to your mid-40s and then you try and squeeze on some leathers and you fall off your new Ducati that you've bought.
Has this actually happened to you?
No, I dropped the first bike I bought. I dropped predictably, but I've never actually. I've low-sided a bike at low speed when I hit something slippery. But that's the worst that's happened to me. I would say that it's something to do later in life. I wanted to buy a bike when I was in my mid to late 20s, and I was just working at Autocar magazine. I got very close to buying one, doing the test and everything, and I just thought, actually, with my frame of mind now, the person I am, I will kill myself. So I didn't do it till I was nearly 40, and I'm really glad I waited because I have a very different view of life now. So I wouldn't use the word sensible, but I think I'm less of a cock.
Yeah.
Then maybe I should give it a go to at least say I've done it. And then it's like, but they're like, not
Yes.
soon, not anytime soon.
No,
but
no.
Just
You've
to
got it
say,
now. You're in, Jack.
Get on a moped and just go and put some L plates on. Just wobble round somewhere with light traffic, like an industrial estate, and just see if you like the feeling of being exposed. And if you don't, you don't. Never do it again.
What we'll do is I'll speak to Honda, and then we can get you and Jack, your
Maybe.
CBTs. It's all. Most of it is done in a
Get
car
on
park.
the black, get on the black.
Oh yeah, God yeah. We'll do it in a car park. You'll go out for like a 40-50 minute ride.
And you go
If you
buy,
come,
and then you go buy Kawasaki.
That's really escalated.
Go buy a Kwakazaki.
but if you come back and you don't like it, you think it's not for you, then fair play. You've done it.
Give it a try.
Yeah, here you go. You've got yourself a free CBT. Come on. Just crack on with it. Right then, that now concludes this week's Car Throttle podcast. I hope you've enjoyed listening and learning more about Chris, and hopefully it's going to inspire you to email us your tales, unpopular opinions, and anything that you want to get off your chest. Let us know by emailing carstories@carthrottle.com. Chris, before we go, what have you got coming up?
I've got hopefully a load more filming that will end of January, and then some more Top Gear episodes that will come out February time. We'll try and reboot the YouTube channel at some point.
That's still
But
Chris Harris on cars, right?
Yeah, I think so. But I'm also, I have an association with Collecting Cars, which is the auction site, which I think is a really interesting business. So
And you have a podcast as well, the Collecting
we
Cars
do a little
podcast.
podcast as well. I don't do them as frequently or as professionally as you guys, but when I've got time, I do one. So yeah, and also shout out to you boys. Fair play. You managed to launch and sustain and build a brand at a time when most were failing. So you probably spend too much time congratulating other people. You should give yourselves a pat on the back.
Oh, thank you very much.
So keep up the good work and it seems quite real. The more hypercar owners that I see on social media platforms, the more I appreciate people that talk with a passion about 500,000 mile hours.
Yeah. We'll keep it to the shitters.
Yeah. They're the only ones we can afford.
Yeah, very much.
Anyway, as for us, you can follow Chris on Instagram at HarrisMonkey. I am at AutoAlex.
I'm at Jack W. Joy.
I'm at Ethan Smale, and you can follow Car Throttle at Car Throttle. Where this week?
Well, we did
Maybe-
Wikipedia last time.
Did Wikipedia.
Posted.
Where?
Just post.
Post.
Oh, yeah.
Send us
The
an
postal
envelope.
Follow us.
Yeah, send us a
our-
letter. to
Our
follow.
Royal Mail profile.
Yeah.
I absolutely lost the three of you now. We're talking about. But thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no, thank you very much to Chris. Sorry, you want to say one more thing?
I also remember to replace Alex Ferguson. I think it was David Moyes.
That was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well spot.
Yeah.
So I always thought that he was never going to succeed.
Yeah.
That was my example. I think that was Chris Evans' role.
Right. Yeah.
We've
yeah.
come full circle now.
Cool.
There you go.
If that's
Nice
just
way to-
all podcasts I'll be thinking. Yeah.
And on that happy note, thank you very much for watching and listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.